I won't use every time. I know bad guys.
In the United States today, especially under the Trump administration in 2025, the difference between an illegal immigrant and a green card holder isn't just a matter of legal technicality, it's a life-altering distinction that affects everything from your right to work to your risk of being deported. Yet, these terms are often misunderstood, misused, or merged together in public debates. That's why in this video, we're diving deep into the real and practical differences between illegal immigrants and green card holders, exploring how their experiences, rights, and risks differ, especially in today's highly polarized immigration landscape. Let's start with some simple definitions. An illegal immigrant, also known as an undocumented immigrant, is someone who is living in the United States without legal authorization. This can happen in several ways. They may have entered the country without a visa, or without going through official ports of entry. Or they may have come in legally but overstayed their visa. Some also violate the terms of their visa, such as working on a tourist visa or staying after a student visa expires. On the other hand, a green card holder, officially referred to as a lawful permanent resident, is someone who has been granted permission to live and work in the United States on a permanent basis. They carry an identification document known as a permanent resident card, commonly called a green card, which proves their legal status in the country. The legal difference between the two groups is like night and day. Illegal immigrants have no formal status under U.S. immigration law. They're subject to immediate deportation at any time, and they live under the radar of immigration enforcement agencies like ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. In contrast, green card holders enjoy full legal protections under U.S. law. They can live, work, and even travel internationally with relative freedom. Their rights are protected, although they are not citizens. They're allowed to be in the U.S. indefinitely as long as they don't violate immigration laws or commit certain crimes. One of the biggest differences is the ability to work. Green card holders are legally authorized to work in the United States. They can apply for any job that doesn't require U.S. citizenship. They can start businesses. They can get professional licenses. And they can pay taxes using a social security number. Illegal immigrants, however, cannot legally work. While many do find employment, they often do so using fake documents or by working under the table. This puts them at significant risk of labor exploitation, poor working conditions, lower wages, and abuse, since they can't report violations without risking deportation. Let's talk about healthcare and public services. Green card holders, after a 5-year waiting period, can access a wide range of public benefits, including Social Security, Medicare, and sometimes Medicaid. They can also receive public schooling, health insurance subsidies, and certain tax credits. Illegal immigrants, on the other hand, are largely excluded from these systems. While some may be eligible for emergency medical care and limited community services, they are not eligible for federal benefits like food stamps or government health insurance programs. The difference in freedom of movement is also striking. Green card holders can travel outside the United States and re-enter freely, using their green card. However, they need to be cautious about long absences. Staying outside the U.S. for more than 6 months could raise red flags, and being gone for over a year without a re-entry permit might result in their status being considered abandoned. Illegal immigrants, in contrast, typically cannot leave the United States without significant consequences. If they leave, they may be barred from returning for years, or even for life, depending on their specific immigration history. This creates a painful dilemma. Many are stuck in the U.S. indefinitely, unable to visit family or attend emergencies in their home countries. In 2025, the Trump administration has returned with a much tougher stance on immigration enforcement. This affects both illegal immigrants and green card holders, but in different ways. For undocumented individuals, the crackdown has intensified. More raids, more deportations, and more surveillance are now the norm. Programs like DACA and TPS are under legal challenge, and sanctuary cities are facing threats of funding cuts if they don't comply with federal enforcement. Even longtime undocumented residents are facing removal orders, and legal defenses are becoming harder to access. While green card holders are generally safe from deportation, they are not immune. Under current policies, even permanent residents can face deportation if they commit certain crimes, like drug offenses, fraud, or domestic violence. The Trump administration has also increased scrutiny at U.S. ports of entry. Some green card holders have been detained for extra questioning when returning from overseas trips. Others have been denied green card renewals or naturalization due to past use of public benefits or minor legal infractions. What about taxes and financial identity? Green card holders pay federal, state, and local taxes. They use a valid Social Security number, just like U.S. citizens. They can claim tax refunds, apply for mortgages, build credit, and invest. Illegal immigrants, surprisingly, also pay billions in taxes every year, often using an ITIN, or individual taxpayer identification number. However, they don't receive the same benefits and cannot claim most tax credits or participate in federal programs. Now, consider the issue of family sponsorship. Green card holders can sponsor certain family members, like spouses and children, for legal immigration to the U.S. They cannot sponsor parents or siblings until they become citizens, but they do have a legal mechanism for family reunification. Illegal immigrants, unfortunately, cannot sponsor anyone. Their undocumented status prevents them from participating in the legal immigration system altogether. In fact, if they try to adjust their status through a family member, they often must leave the U.S. to process the application, and doing so can trigger a 3 or 10-year bar from re-entry. Perhaps the most important difference is the path to citizenship. Green card holders can apply for U.S. citizenship through naturalization. After 5 years of permanent residency, or 3 years if married to a U.S. citizen, they can file their application, pass the English and civics tests, and take the oath of allegiance. Once naturalized, they gain full rights. They can vote, run for office, hold a U.S. passport, and bring more relatives to the country. Illegal immigrants, on the other hand, have no direct path to citizenship under current law. While some may adjust status through marriage or humanitarian programs, most face significant legal barriers that prevent them from ever becoming citizens, unless Congress passes major immigration reform. Let's also think about what daily life looks like for both groups. A green card holder can live openly, go to work, enroll in school, get a driver's license, buy a home, and travel freely. They have peace of mind, stability, and access to the systems that most Americans take for granted. Illegal immigrants, in contrast, live in fear. Every day carries the risk of detention, deportation, or separation from loved ones. They avoid contact with police, even if they're victims of crime, because any attention can be dangerous. Many avoid hospitals, avoid signing leases, and avoid anything that could bring their undocumented status into question. The emotional toll is immense. In the political arena of 2025, immigration has become one of the most divisive issues in the country. President Trump's return to office has brought with it a new wave of executive orders and policies designed to crack down on illegal immigration. Many Americans support these measures, arguing that national security, border control, and economic fairness depend on strong enforcement. They say that immigration should be legal, merit-based, and carefully controlled. On the other hand, millions of people, immigrant families, advocates, faith leaders, and even some employers are calling for a more humane approach. They argue that the undocumented population includes people who have lived in the U.S. for decades, contributed to the economy, raised children, and followed the law in every way except for their immigration status. They believe it's time for comprehensive immigration reform that includes a path to legal status. Green card holders, although they are legally protected, often feel caught in the middle. They're not undocumented, but they're not citizens either. They may still face discrimination, delays, and legal obstacles, especially with newer policies targeting things like public charge or immigration fraud. Many are afraid that even one mistake could put their residency at risk. So, what's the final takeaway? The difference between an illegal immigrant and a green card holder in the United States is not just paperwork. It's a completely different life. One group lives in the shadows, without protection, without recognition, and without a clear future. The other lives within the system, with the right to work, travel, build a life, and even pursue citizenship. And in 2025, as the U.S. doubles down on enforcement and policy changes, these differences have never been more important or more dangerous to ignore. If you found this video helpful, informative, or eye-opening, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who needs to understand the real story behind U.S. immigration today. Drop a comment if you have a question or personal experience to share. We respond to everyone. Until next time, stay informed and stay safe.